Okay, we're back. This is going to be part 3 of the rookie drift Yokomo RTR car here. One big thing I want to start by is the gyro that comes with this. The instructions that it comes with are all in a different language for me, for English. So Google Translate has a pretty nice feature where you can take a picture of it and it all translates it for you in English, which is kind of a must because um, as in the gain is pretty straightforward, 50%, 100 or 0. But the modes that are in there, so that like the first mode is either analog or digital servo. Second one, I believe, is the reverse of it. So depending what servo you put in there, you might need it to go the opposite direction so it can reverse it. And then the third one is the orientation of what the gyro is in. So the third one, if you don't turn the gyro, you're all right. You don't have to worry about the third mode. But for us, we did some other changes here, which I'll talk about in a second, that we had to go through those modes. First, like I said, it was a little hard to drive. For the most part, the steering wasn't quite as smooth as I would like it. I had somebody else drive the car for me as I kind of messed with the gain, also with the dual rate, trying to try as many things I could to make it a little easier to drive. And it was kind of difficult, I'm not going to lie. But we got around the track. We did some drifting. It wasn't too bad. I have done now, since then, I've done a couple modifications, not modifications per se. The only thing I did add was a digital servo. I'm pretty sure the servo that it comes with is analog. So I have changed that in the gyro to digital. And we've got like one of the lower level digital servos Yokomo makes. It's a SP02D V2 servo. Which I looked on a couple online sites. They're about $77, something like that. But this is, I feel, just from me drifting here in the garage, is way better controlled. Much, much better to control the car in a drift. I feel like the speed controller and the motor for my local track, which is fairly tight, kind of small, this motor combo is pretty good. I wouldn't say any of this kind of upgrade would be necessary. The biggest thing with all of this, I think, the battery lasted a long time. I was probably out there for like 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, is the servo. So I have changed the servo out, got another servo in there. I have changed the position of the motor now. This is since the end of my last video. I've done these changes and trying to, next time I go out, see if I made any difference, basically. So the motor was like kind of way down here, and you can kind of rotate all this up. So it's kind of up at that higher position here. So this is going to let the car roll more, hopefully give it a little bit more control when it's sliding, so it rolls a little bit more in the corners. And when you do this, this brace that's here, it's normally coming down and mounting to the bottom here. Once you move the motor up out of the way, you can flip this brace over. So this brace is on top now, so this whole top deck is like one thing. I think you can mount your speed controller if you wanted to down here or something like that, but we're going to leave the speed controller and everything the same. So this is one thing I have changed going into the next time I go to the drift track, which this doesn't cost any money. You can just do it on your own. The only thing right now that I've changed that costs money is the servo. The radio, I think, worked fine. I don't think there's any problems there with the radio at all. One of the other things I did, so you can remove these 4 screws back here. This cover comes off. I'll put a picture up also. The diff comes out. So I think the diff oil was maybe a little heavy. So I took this out. I cleaned everything up. You know, went all the way through all the O-rings, cleaned all the O-rings up, put new grease on the O-rings, put them back in, and I only put 5,000 diff oil in it. So the diff action now is kind of free. Hoping again to pick up a little bit of grip, a little bit more consistency. I think when this is like more of a spool, it's kind of harder to drive. You don't have as much grip. So I've done the diff, I've done the motor relocation. The other things I did is I did change the suspension mounts and the roll centers of them. So like I have on my other Yokomo cars, and it's been pretty good. The front is always flat, so the suspension mounts lay flat on the chassis. I'll put a picture up also of this. So I've put a little bit of kick up in the car. So where the arm is flat, the pin is running through, I've kind of gave it a little bit of kick up in the front, 1 millimeter in the front. And it's these two screws here. You just take one out, slide a 1 millimeter shim in, tighten back the screw, do the same on the other side so that both pins are angled up a little bit in the front. So we're going to go with that on the next one. And then in the rear, I've done the same thing as the front, but I've done it to all 4 screws holding the suspension mount on. I've done the rears and I've done the front, so the whole pins have been raised up in the rear. Again, I'm trying to get like maybe a little bit more overall grip and a little bit more consistency for the car. But like I said, just running it here in the garage for a little bit with this different servo in it, it's much more controllable. I feel like I can kind of go wherever I kind of need here in the garage, and I'm hoping that's gonna be the same at the track. I'm not gonna be able to go this week. It's kind of a packed week for me, but I'm gonna try to go. I actually have a body for an event coming up at Street Break. So I'm gonna actually mount and paint another body for it. So I have purchased another Yokomo body, and I'm gonna take this car just the way it is. Again, only thing different that I had to purchase is the servo. But I'm gonna run all the electronics and everything and go and do this meet. And RCDrift.Social, we're gonna be there taking some photos. We're probably going to be there taking some like live video, and it should be a pretty good event. I think Dustin said he's got some people from Texas, Miami, Orlando, all over the place coming to this thing. I think it's always usually kind of a low-key deal, but ever since his latest 86 day, he's gotten pretty good crowds. So I'm looking forward to doing the same with this. And this has been awesome. I'm really enjoying doing these videos. Hope you guys like them too. And we'll catch you on the next one after the next drift meet. Thanks again.